Hey everyone, welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah, good to be back.
You know, uh, you sent over some fascinating stuff on training your brain for like laser sharp focus.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I feel like everyone listening can relate to this because, we all kind of feel that, in this crazy world with all the distractions and everything, it's like your mind is, jumping around everywhere.
Constantly.
And it's like, how do you rein it in?
Absolutely.
But the cool thing is the stuff that you sent is basically saying, focus is not something you just either have or don't have. It's something that you can train. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so we're gonna do a deep dive into all this material that you sent and try to pull out some actionable stuff for everyone listening, so they can, eliminate distractions and really like boost their concentration. So
Yeah, sounds good.
let's just jump right in.
All right.
Okay, so the first thing that really struck me when I was looking at the material is this idea that focusing is like a muscle. And I think, what's the best way to explain that?
So, well, just like with any muscle, right?
Mm.
If you're repeatedly kind of like exerting it and working it out, it gets stronger.
Right.
So the same thing happens with your focus. When you're consistently practicing focusing your attention, you're actually strengthening those neural pathways in your brain that are responsible for concentration.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's a real thing that's happening in your brain.
It's not just like a willpower thing
Right.
or.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna like try harder. It's like you're actually like building the physical pathways in your brain.
Right. So, okay. So every time I'm trying to focus on something and I pick up my phone,
Right.
that's like I'm weakening that muscle.
Exactly. You're giving into that distraction and you're kind of like, making that muscle weaker.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's, you know, one of the things that we saw in here is this idea of like a 5-minute focus exercise.
Right.
So tell me about that.
So that's actually a really great way to start building that mental strength, and it's very simple. So basically all you do is set a timer for 5 minutes.
Okay.
And you choose one single task.
Okay.
So it could be anything. It could be reading a paragraph from one of those articles you sent. It could be, working on a specific email, or even just like observing an object closely.
Interesting.
And the key here is that when your mind wanders, and it will inevitably wander,
Yeah.
you just gently, without judgment, redirect your attention back to the task.
Right.
So it's this act of redirecting that strengthens your attention.
Okay.
And so if you do this daily, that's like you're doing your reps, you're working that muscle.
5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Okay. I can do that.
Exactly. It's manageable. Right.
Yeah. So that's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Now, we also saw in here this idea of deep work.
Right.
So tell me how you're using that, or how people can implement that into their routine.
So with deep work, it's about creating these focused blocks of time where you are working without any distractions.
So like how long are we talking about?
Typically, it's around 90 minutes.
Okay.
And in those 90 minutes, you're like completely immersed in the task.
Okay.
Now, the material you sent mentioned a couple of tools like Forest or Pomodoro timers.
Oh yeah, those are good.
Those can be really helpful because they kind of break the work down into these intervals. So, Pomodoro, you work for like 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break, and it aligns with our natural kind of attention spans.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And Forest is cool because it gamifies it.
Right. So like you can't check your phone, otherwise your tree dies.
Exactly. And nobody wants a dead tree.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, it's really about minimizing those distractions and allowing yourself to like go deep into a task.
Okay. So that's the deep work. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, we can't really talk about focus without talking about like the elephant in the room, right?
Right.
Our phones.
Yes.
The ultimate distraction.
Absolutely.
So what is the digital detox rule?
So the digital detox rule is really about, setting boundaries with your phone,
Yeah.
because our phones are designed to grab our attention all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So some things that the material mentioned are, turning off notifications while you're working.
That's a good one.
That's a really basic one that can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Also establishing no phone zones. So maybe the first hour after you wake up and the hour before bed.
Oh, interesting.
Just give yourself that space without the phone.
Yeah. Create a little boundary there. Okay.
Exactly. And then there was this one that I thought was really interesting, switching your phone to grayscale mode.
Oh yeah, that actually works.
Right, because it makes it less appealing.
It does. It really does.
Right. You're not drawn to those bright colors.
Right.
So yeah, it's amazing how just these little things can kind of rewire your brain.
Okay. Yeah. So just small changes can make a big difference.
Right, absolutely.
Okay. Now, we've talked about all these kind of like exercises and techniques and stuff. But, one thing that the material you sent also highlighted was this idea that, what you eat and your lifestyle can also impact your focus.
Absolutely.
So what were some of the key takeaways for you there?
So the material highlighted the importance of things like omega-3 rich foods.
Oh, yeah, those brain foods.
Right, exactly. So things like fish and walnuts, those are really good for brain health.
Okay.
Also, staying hydrated is huge.
Yeah, I know if I'm even a little dehydrated, I can't think.
Exactly. Even mild dehydration can impact your focus.
Yeah, okay.
And then, of course, getting enough sleep, that's crucial. If
Yeah.
you're sleep deprived, your focus is going to be shot.
Right. So basically taking care of your brain.
Exactly. Nourish it, rest it, and it will be able to focus better.
Okay, so just to kind of recap, we talked about the 5-minute focus exercise for building that initial strength.
Right.
We talked about deep work sessions for like sustained productivity,
Yeah.
getting into that flow state.
Yeah.
We talked about the digital detox rule, which,
Mhm.
let's face it, is a huge one. Absolutely. And then, just the importance of nourishing your brain with, the right foods, hydration, and sleep.
Right.
So basically, like all these things, they're not magic bullets, but if you do them consistently over time, you will see an improvement in your focus.
You will absolutely.
So I want to leave everyone with just like something to think about, how might intentionally training your focus, like we've talked about today, unlock, a deeper level of engagement with the things that you really care about.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Thanks for joining us today.
Huh.
This is a really interesting conversation,
My pleasure.
and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
See ya.